Welcome to the Vibrant Living Network. Have you ever wondered what is possible beyond possible? What is the thing you've been wondering and inquiring about? Are you just feeling stuck and don't know why? Are you thinking or are you seeing? Seeing allows us to expand and have this other experience. We want to invite you for that wake-up call. We want to invite your spirit, your soul, so to be more alive, more connected. Glenn Brooks has been a life coach for over 33 years, author of Divorced to Patterns, Not Each Other, an explorer of what is possible. He has worked with people all around the world. Join us for a wake-up conversation, a dialogue with you. We will have some of the most interesting contributors. We will be talking to some of the most interesting people and have some of the most resourceful teachers, wisdom-filled people from around the world join us. Share your voice, ask the questions, become free of the known into a new world of possibility. We are going to talk about all the things you wonder about: how to live, how to heal, how to connect, how to love, how to be seen. Your life is precious. Enjoy it.
Sounds like someone's playing the flute. I like that. Welcome to the Vibrant Living Network. I'm Glenn Brooks, unscripted, unrehearsed, and ready to share with you some beautiful things today. Hey, we're going to focus this show, the first part of the show, on vibrant collaboration. Hi. So vibrant collaboration is a collaboration that's beyond trading, beyond bartering, beyond exchanging. It's really coming to another whole level of meaningfulness, fulfillment, because you're together. And on this format, I'm going to give you some demonstrations, some actual things that are occurring right now in my life. And I want you guys to be part of this. I do something called the Vibrant Living Challenge. And part of how we handle the collaboration part of this in the Vibrant Living Challenge, which is my 3-month program, my kind of group program, is I have people look around the room. And one of the skills we practice blinking. I don't know if you ever read a book by Malcolm Gladwell. The whole point of blinking is you could catch something very quickly and go with it. So it's using your brain and your awareness in a lateral way rather than a linear way. So that's what I live in my life. I live from this place of blinking. So in a moment, I'm going to use our wonderful panel and talk about our collaborations, of our vibrant collaborations. I want to say that as I'm on this block, I'm on my studio, there's a block, and there's a beautiful golden Labrador walking by me. Beautiful dog this afternoon. And so this is sort of a way of life. So what we make as a way of life changes our brain. So yesterday morning, we're producing a new show that you're going to have the pleasure of hearing called the Brain Plasticity Lifestyle. The Brain Plasticity Lifestyle. And when I introduce these two amazing women you'll get to meet, they work with children who have been labeled with things like autism and different developmental challenges. And when Rita introduced Marissa, she said, there's something when Marissa walks in a room, the children change. When Marissa walks in a room, we're educated a lot about doing, but there's something beyond doing that greatly impacts people. So let's explore vibrant collaboration. I want to welcome my family member and producer today, Lisa LaRose, who's with us. Lisa?
Good afternoon. I'm live from Los Angeles, which is
live from. I love that.
Sunday. Yeah.
I love that. No matter how many hats I wear or what I go through, you're still there. I love that about you. Thank you.
No matter where I am in the world, you're still
there. No matter where in the world, how many times and how many things I go through. And, I was wondering, as these collaboration happens, I want to say to people that this Vibrant Living has been on all around the country. We had a solid audience in Florida. We have Sherry from Florida who works with dogs in a really magical way. You'll get to introduce her. And I feel vibrant collaboration with Sherry. We will open up the Broward County, South Florida Marketplace. We have a very strong show there. I collaborated with Dr. Sandra Cabot. She called me from Australia. She said, could you bring 100 people to my seminar? And she was known as the Flying Doctor, by the way, the Flying Doctor. She'd fly around with one mission, was to teach some people about their liver. And I said, you know what, Sandra? I said, we could do 40 programs. This ain't no McDonald's. But we could do 40 programs and educate people about liver consciousness. Your liver is so profound and wondrous in your body. And she came on, and I never would promise this, but we had 50 people call in We have people calling from the Bahamas, people on liver waiting lists, and no one ever told them they could actually change their liver. They could change their liver and change their lives. That was an incredible collaboration. So in Florida, we have a community, and I think Sherry's going to be a doorway and a connecting link to Florida. Have that intuition. I share that with her. So a vibrant collaboration happens when you see someone, and I'm still exploring. This is a mystery. And so part of the mystery was the first time I sort of heard the language of collaboration the way I wanted to practice and live it. The financial ambassador of Chile, Fernando Flores at the time, was up in front of a firing squad. They were going to dispose of him. And he talked about, as human beings, we have this quality of listening that we often don't cultivate, which he calls, listening to the listening. So as he was up against the firing squad, there was a moment where they caught his eye, and they didn't kill him. And he kind of dedicated himself, and I dedicated myself to pay more attention to those moments where you can move ahead with a quality of trust and breath. So the way we breathe, the way we regulate, and we have Pam Badger with us, who's got her award-winning champion dog, Campbell, who I get to hang out with. Was it a day ago? Tuesday I was with you.
Yep.
That was wonderful.
Yep.
And you said to me, I told Campbell I mentioned him. I know he's going to give me extra credit when I see him next time.
Yep.
Welcome.
Right here to me.
All right. Campbell, hi. We're so honored to be around Champion Campbell. And you said something that day, Pam. You said that dogs, because I think I was around 5 of your beautiful dogs. And I think you said that something about the breath or the heart rate in the dogs. And I was noticing the energy was so wondrous being at your house with your husband and Campbell. And I was like, wow, because as we open up Vibrant Living Vermont, we have vibrant dogs. And being there with Campbell and the other dogs and you, which is very powerful for me. It really, I've always wanted to live that one thing. And I knew it would come from collaboration. It didn't come from getting a job. No, never came from getting a job. It didn't come from convincing anybody. It didn't come from, I think of all the things people do that don't work. Oh, yeah, proposing anything. Pitching. It really came from being in life, and it's particularly amplified over the last 7 years. So I want to tell you that my interactions with you were at what I call the Saab barbershop. And in different cultures, the barbershop is a third place where people meet. And I met with you, and I knew immediately I could trust you, and we could do something wonderful together. So I want to thank you.
You're welcome.
And I deeply thank you. And Campbell. Campbell's one of my I was just appreciating. So I'm going to share a couple of collaborations we have. I want to also welcome, we'll get into our collaborations, which I love deeply. I want to welcome Nate Hughes, who's changed the quality of my life. He's changed the quality of my life, Nate. How's that? The marketing social genius from Menla Mountain. I call it Menla Mountain. It's probably not called Menla Mountain. Menla Retreat Center.
Menla Retreat and Spa. And I feel the same way. And I feel like a lot of things have been manifesting in my life since we met. And I can only attribute part of that to the energy we bounce off of each other.
Yeah. No, it's boy, it's funny. I guess being in this thing called Vibrant Collaboration has been, someone actually had someone on from Vermont, and he said they studied, why do people like Vermont? He said, well, it's this factor that people just say, well, it's Vermont. And I think that this is another factor we have, right? It could be anywhere.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. I'll let Sherry say hello. Sherry.
Hello, everybody. How you doing?
I told you that there was a love song dedicated to you. That was the Sherry's in my subconscious someplace. So I already felt the connection to you. So why don't you share with people? So by the way, I want to acknowledge you. I want to acknowledge you because when I kind of feel there's a mutual blink, and that's when two people see each other and they know they could. It happened to Walt Disney. He was with 5 people. He saw Disneyland. And he looked at, I think there was 5, and he looked at them and said, I think this could be a good investment. 3 of them ran away. The other one looked really puzzled and left. And I think there was like 1 person left that said, I'll do it with you. So when I blinked and I called you, always out of the blue, it just happens in a blink. I'm just curious. In the blink, I first spoke to you, and I gave you all my zany, I'm there, and I just see things from the end of it. I don't start. I'm just already in the movie deeply. So what was it like for you when I first called you?
It was very interesting because you had plenty of information and lots of ideas, and the fact that you called me to collaborate with me, I feel very grateful. So good. I'm excited to be on today. Thank you.
Good. Oh, you're very welcome. No, I part of what I did yesterday, Nate and Pam and Lisa and Sherry, hope I'm not is that I talked to these two women who see children, and we were discussing about what is it that impacts the brain immediately. Like, what is it that changes the brain and the nervous system? And Marissa said, in relationship, it has nothing to do with chemistry. Nothing. So people say, well, it's chemistry. It's nothing to do with chemistry. It's really this aspect of our nervous system. By the way, which sort of leads us into dogs. So I want to share with you guys a vibrant collaboration that I had that I think you'll find really interesting, because I want to stretch you out of your linear mind for a moment, too. So when I first came to Massachusetts, seems like a bazillion years ago, I met a psychiatrist from Vermont. And as soon as he met me, he called me this nickname. He called me Boober. By the way, if I'm forgetting anybody, please, it's been an unusual day. If I want to make sure if I miss you, let me know. So he called me Boober, and he would basically run things he was testing, he was reviewing. So one of the things was he changed the lighting in the public school system in Vermont. And he told me about that. And I fit into the category of people with left hands and blonde hair. They have a whole different brain. They have a whole different way of responding to things. So we got along immediately. And the next thing he was studying, I want to say two or things down the line, and he developed this work called the grid work. So the grid work, you guys know, like Lou Gehrig's disease, and actually I was talking about Alzheimer's yesterday. So 70% of women get Alzheimer's, by the way, 70 to 30. So why is it that certain of these diseases that are mysterious diseases, right? Why does that occur? So what Wayne told me was that these is because the grid gets stuck. So the next thing he studied was Rottweilers. For some reason, Rottweilers, the dog, it moves the grid. It's some type. The Rottweiler is strong enough to deal with people's, I guess you could say, energy baggage or psychological factors, right? So he called me up one day, and we had this relationship. We had a very blink relationship. He could call me and say, Boober, I'm going to give you this. I want this. Or he said, Boober, come up and pick up this dog. He goes, this dog's good for you and your son, and eventually it'll be good for your family. So I drove up, and next thing I knew, I had this big Rottweiler named Ben, basically sitting on my lap while I'm driving and kind of knocking into the horn and the radio. And Ben came home, and my son just totally fell in love with Ben. My daughter locked herself in a room and came out like a couple of days later. And I had to leave the house. It seemed like an hour. I had to leave the house. I left the house, and Ben didn't come with me. I don't know why, but Donna, my beautiful wife, was doing a back bend in her room. And what Ben did, the Rottweiler, is he went under where she was doing a back bend and laid underneath her. So she had no choice but to lay on him. That was her introduction to Ben. So Wayne said to me one day, he said, well, so we put an event together in Vermont. It was very cold. Barely anybody came. About 100 people came. We were expecting like 400. But a woman came, and she wrote a book on depression. It sold about 130,000 copies. And so I want you to know, when you collaborate, there's all kinds of other gifts and things that occur. Pam, I thought I would go to you. I don't know why. What's your take so far on vibrant collaboration? Tell me what you think right now. What's bubbling? I want to make sure everybody's here, and I think you're a good ground for the room. Could you ground I saw the way you ground your dogs. I loved it, by the way.
Well, I think it's a fabulous idea. Also a great to have dogs and bring dogs in from the suburbs. We have second homeowners and around our area, so it's board. I think it would be great.
All right. I want to get this principle. So in Vibrant Collaboration, the first day of the Vibrant Living Challenge, my 3-month program, which I'd love you guys to be a part of, I have people do this exercise. So the exercise is, it's kind of a combo exercise. One is I ask people what their superpower is. We're going to do that today, by the way. I ask people what their superpower is, and then I ask them to recognize someone else's superpower. even though the person doesn't recognize it. And the next 3 months, they need to focus and bring out that superpower. How that exercise came to me, I was having a conversation with a pretty world-renowned yogi on a forest, and she told me that she was at a training with Tony Robbins, and you're supposed to climb a large, I think a 25-foot pole. And she said she climbed it. She was exhausted. Teshna's here. Okay, Teshna, we're running a little late, but you're here. Welcome.
Yes, I'm here. Thanks.
I like that you said you're there. I always wanted to say in school, instead of I'm here, I'm leaving as soon as I can. But thank you for being here.
I'm here.
So Anna Forrest basically said to me that she was exhausted. When she came down off the 25-foot pole, she dedicated it to a man in a wheelchair. She climbed the pole for him. So the first aspect of vibrant collaboration is you care more about the other person so much it moves you in a different direction. I'm standing in Amherst. I'm standing in the center of Amherst right now, and then I'm going to talk about my collaboration with Pam. I'm standing here at a non-toxic hair cutting salon, and I went to see Kate, and Kate basically told me she loved this. There was a celebrity in the hair industry that she wanted to connect with, and I had spoken to him very briefly, but when she told me it had meaning for her, this famous guy in the hair industry, he built a non-toxic product. I called him, and I set it up so they can meet. And that's going to be our first Instagram. We're going to do an Instagram on vibrant collaboration. So I guess I'll share my collaboration with Pam. And then Teshna, we're running like 15 minutes behind. We just got on the air actually fairly recently. Now I'm going to get right to you. We're going to get right to our next segment. But I want to just finish this segment and do it justice on vibrant collaboration. Turns out me and you are in vibrant collaboration, Teshna. So, Lisa, tell me if this is what's bubbling for you. You're my co-host and producer right now. I want to make sure that we're in sync.
Well, speaking from the dog world, you know that I have 13 little furry friends that
you
I
do.
Call my own, and I'll tell you that when you bring dogs into your life, it changes things in a lot of different ways. You know, out here in Los Angeles last night, I was able to connect with some individuals that had some greyhound rescues, and you know, just being in that space and you know, meeting, you know, the dogs were kind of sequestered away from the main party that was going on, but you know, when I went, they came up to me and tenderly put their heads next to mine and just shared an intimate, soulful moment. And there's something very, very healing and grounding in that. And so I'm excited for this vibrant dog collaboration and to explore more. I never knew that about the Rottweilers, but I truly believe in my heart that there's many, many dogs that do the same thing. And you see it. People's whole demeanor changes. In Canada, they allow dogs in the nursing homes, and if people have allergies, you know, the dogs have a collar. They don't go into those rooms, but the dogs are able to walk in and out, and you know, it's very, very healing for the patients. And I think it's wonderful for the rescue dogs. You know, they have a home, they have lots and lots of people to love them, and it just changes the whole atmosphere around everything. Very eager to explore that.
Oh, beautiful. You know, I read a book called Dog Medicine, and when I finished reading it, I just felt so resonant with her story. She'll be a contributor. She was on heavy medications, and she meets this dog, and basically the dog changed her whole life. It was, but I saw that all around me. With Pam, so I saw Pam at what I call the Sob Barbershop. If you go to sobnet.com, sobnet.com, you'll see a picture of my sob mechanic, Chris Rizon, and a graphic artist drew this as a barbershop. And in the old days, the barbershop was the power of the third place, so people would hang out and have the conversations. And I had every time I saw Pam and her husband, I'd be like, "Wow, they're there. We could talk. I could talk about the culture of sob for hours." And it seems like Pam not only does, but has several sobs. And so one collaboration I had with her was on the dogs, and she totally agreed. So it's two people when they agree, it's something powerful happens. So I felt that with her. And then last week, I've been wanting to – go ahead. I thought someone was going to share something. I didn't want to – does somebody have a spontaneous sharing?
No, I think it was your echo, Glenn.
It was my echo. Thank you.
Yeah.
I think my first grade teacher probably said that to me before she asked me to leave, though. But okay. So thank you, Nate. So last week I have so many kindred spirits around the country that love sobs, but I know that they don't make sobs. I can tell you there's endless stories about sobs on so many levels. The community of people, right? And I knew that I really wanted to endorse Volvo, so I was just about to have Volvo be the official car of the Vibrant Living Network, the official car, because of its greenness, because of its safety. And so Pam just kind of mentioned she wants a car, and it's going to be a Volvo. And my next collaboration was to connect Pam with a car, Volvo, a special SUV Volvo, and then actually form a relationship with Volvo. So we're in two significant collaborations. And Pam just says to me she's good in the back of the room, or she's good in the hidden part of the room, but I can feel her presence and energy and wonder. And I want to say I feel more grounded and more inspired, Pam. You're on board for the Volvo, our new show, the Volvo and Travel Show, and having Volvo be a significant part of our travel because of its safety, greenness, and quickness these days, performance.
Yep. Glenn?
Yeah.
I
yes.
also wanted to let you know the state of Vermont allows dogs, therapy dogs, also into nursing homes, and also so that the student is a dog, also a nice presence, and a nice calming effect dogs will do, and it's all kinds of dogs, not just my Goldens, but other breeds.
All right. Thank you. I have an agreement with all my creditors that my guard dog's got to be in their office before they call me, and the dog hears the conversation. So it's not a pleasant emotional tone. My dog's right there. It's a new thing I'm developing because we want safety at all levels.
Exactly.
Okay. That's a homeopathic humor, by the way. It will sink in over the next 48 hours. What I wanted to do. Thank you, Lisa. What I wanted to do. By the way, Lisa's that person if you guys are sitting in a classroom like I was, right? I was sitting, reading my own books, basically, and the teacher basically says, you need to leave. And Lisa's the person that would be like, I don't want him to leave. I want him to stay. You know that? You know those people in your life, the other, like, dark horses, the people that are actually with you, Nate? You know what I mean? They're like, they don't want to see you leave, but the teacher's kicking you out, and you can see in their eyes they're going to miss you. Everybody else is glad you're going. That's Lisa. All right, what I want to do is go around now. I want to go around. That's Lisa. When I first met Lisa, I was like, she was already a family member before I met her. She just showed up, and I was like, oh, there's Lisa. You ever have that with people? You just kind of meet them, and there they are. We were having this conversation yesterday. It's not a clinician thing. All right, I want to go in the room right now. This is a vibrant living thing, and I want you to all share your superpower. How's that for a stretch? So let's begin with Lisa. Let's go around the room. And what's your superpower?
Wonder. I am the woman of wonder. And you can read some of my writings on the Intuitive Observer. But I wonder about everything. I think all the time. And, I think when you lose your sense of wonder, you lose your sense of vibrancy and youth. And there's so many things wherever we go. We never have all the answers. And so to be in a state of wonder is my superpower. And it's also, I think, one of my gifts. It's the ability to always see things in a new way. And, you'll see that if you go to my different wonderments on the Intuitive Observer, you can find that online, there are so many things to discover in all aspects. And, so that would be my superpower.
Oh, I love it. By the way, so there's the relational brain effect, right? We come together and we have this relational brain thing. So, Teshna, we ran about 15 minutes late, but I want to go to you, and then we're gonna do our segment. I apologize, it's running a little late, but here we are. What's your superpower?
I would say it's healing and transformation.
Oh, that's wonderful.
They're healing and transform whatever they want to transform.
Sounds pretty good to have you on a train, plane, boat, or on the road, or just there.
Yeah, Yeah. As a matter of fact, I've helped a lot of people while I was flying on planes. It happens
Seriously?
quite often that I end up working on people on the plane.
Yeah. I just said to Teshna yesterday, I said, boy, the only way I could fly is I'm sitting next to you. So I didn't know that about her. So that was, she already carrying that medicine, if you will.
Oh, that's
all right, Sherry. We got healing and transformation. What's your superpower? What's the thing? If you collaborate with this team, we're all going to come forward to another level because of your superpower. Because now it becomes our superpower.
All right. So, okay. I'm a female dog whisperer because I show my love for the animals, and my company is Healing Paws Guru, and my goal is happy pet and happy owners. So I've been dog training for 18 years, and I'm also an energy healer for animals and people. So, my goal is just to help as many animals and people as possible. And
so if you had one superpower, what would you call your one? If you just had to pick one, what would your one be? You could have two. I guess we bonus Teshna too, but so you could have two as well. Teshna's healing and transformation. Yeah.
I will say I have the calming effect.
Okay. That's cool. That's powerful.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to Pam, because Pam Badger. I was sitting with Pam. I just love the way you communicate with your dogs. I feel like I'm in a symphony when you go back and forth with Campbell and speak to the other dogs. And I by the way, maybe I'm unusual. I just love being around your dogs. I love being in the car with you with the dogs. I could just see it's such a part of you. It's not something you do. It just is you. So I'm just curious. Go ahead.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, I was talking yesterday. I was explaining to you that of all my dogs, I know where they are all at.
Yes.
As I was saying to you yesterday, I know that Campbell was walking down the driveway, and one of the girls was outside looking, and so my power is observing, or being and observing is as far as I'm concerned, it's also calming. I'm there to make sure I know where my people are, and in this particular case, it's dogs. I'm connected with them, and when I'm in a group, I could be very quiet, which is one of the reasons why I like to be the back of the house, because I observe people. I observe how they interact with people, what they say, how their hand motions are, and so that's my contribution.
I love it. I
That's
experienced
very
it. Matter of fact,
powerful.
I love your contribution.
Yeah, too many people don't take the time to observe and to see and to really notice the small intricacies in life. So that's very, very, very powerful.
Yeah.
We're able to take in more when you just sit back and observe. It's a good thing.
You learn so much observing. That's my thoughts on it. And you grow from it, because you pick out certain things out of each person that you really enjoy or like about that person.
I'm loving it. I'm appreciating it. We're going to go to Nate. Nate.
Patiently waiting here.
Yeah. I was seeing you playing your drum in the background. Okay, just tuning in.
Silently playing the drum. I love the superpowers that are coming forward, because we all do have them. It's just a matter of trusting in it, because society has turned us away from these kind of things. As they say, they're kind of buffoonery or counterintuitive or counter science, and we've lost a lot of that. And it just happens that when we tune into them, we can really achieve so much more. And I've learned through my life that I've kind of shunned what we would call my superpower of like extrasensory perception, or what that boils down to is intuition, and that is really just tuning into the energies that are around us and feeling them for what they are. And that can tell us a lot more, not only about what's happening now, not only about what's happening in the people around us that they might not be telling us, but what might be happening in the future, because those energies resound out and kind of spread out their waves and unfold in a certain kind of way if you can read it.
I love how we could come together and take this collaboration. I want to say that Pam, my intention with all the states, all the lit markets we're in, as Vibrant Living Vermont, Vibrant Living Florida, Vibrant Living New York, all the places we're in, that the collaboration of the team brings us to another whole level. So my superpowers are conducting. I help people conduct their stories and their messages on the platform, videos on the stage. I put together speaking of, I guess, conducting and connection. And those are the most significant things. And funny enough, I experienced a massive connection around dogs. I was thinking about a dog last night, Pam and Lisa and Nate, Teshna, and Miss Bernice Mountain Dog walked up to me. So I was thinking, wow, I do love a Bernice Mountain Dog. This segment and when I'm collaborating with Pam my intention is to live the mission of Mark Twain, which is ongoingly share with people how to turn their vocation into their vacation as a lifestyle. And I'll be sharing that throughout Vermont, also filming the movie. Oh, by the way, I wanted to say the film we're doing, the announcement, is based it has, have you guys enjoyed Groundhog Day? This is the love story. This is another aspect. Did you know there was a Buddhist scholar from England? He did a 13-part series about how Groundhog Day would change everything in the world if people got the whole Groundhog Day, the deeper message. So I saw that film and I thought, wow. All right, we're going to continue. And now we're going to take Vibrant Collaboration and bring it into Vibrant Matchmaking. So how did I end up doing this matchmaking? And how was it sort of in my life? And we're gonna bring on someone who read Teshna's book in such a dedicated way, Fit for Love, that I've never heard before. Stay with us and our whole wonderful Vibrant Collaboration team for more vibrant living.
The Real Conscious Connection. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM. Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
Hello, I'm Sandy Sedgbeer, host of OMTimes Magazine's flagship radio show, What is Going On? My passion is sifting through information, research, and innovations from new thought teachers, speakers, and researchers pushing back the boundaries of what we know about life, energy, metaphysics, and the universe. I love shifting perceptions about who we are, why we're here, and how quickly impossible becomes normal when we open our minds, expand our awareness, and accept that the only limits that exist are those we place upon ourselves. So if you're the kind of forward-thinking, eager investigator of what lies beyond the current reality that most perceive, why not make a date to come play with me in the field of possibilities at 4 p.m. Pacific Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time every Thursday, and together we can discover what's really going on.
Hi, this is recording artist and composer Yuval Ran, inviting you to a voyage through the chakras, a new double album of guided meditations to transform your life, a sublime musical medicine for nourishing inner peace and reaching to your higher virtues. Get it now at metamindfulnessmusic.com, METTA mindfulnessmusic.com.
In the wake of a disaster, what one thing can you send that will help people the most? A blanket, a tent, a sandbag, a doctor. Actually, if you send a monetary donation, you send all these things. Even a small donation can make a big impact and can quickly become exactly what people affected by disaster need most.
In the wake of a hurricane, your monetary donation can make a huge difference to those in need. To donate, visit supporthurricanerelief.org. That's supporthurricanerelief.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
You're listening to the Vibrant Living Network. I'm Glenn Brooks, and we're talking about vibrant collaboration as a way of life, as a way of listening. And welcome back. Welcome forward. Lisa.
Yes. Andrea's just having a little trouble getting through the same way we did this morning. So, Chris, if you're listening, if you could just double-check that, that would be great.
All right, so
yeah, Andrea's
going to come on. Teshna, this is the lady I told that read your book, Fit for Love, like she studied it like as if it was going to be questions on Jeopardy for the last, it seems like 13 years. I think she knows your book better than anybody. I thought you too. Fit for Love. All right, so on the subject of collaboration, because people wonder, well, I'm not a regular matchmaker. I'm very different than when you think about matchmaking. I kind of match people based on vibrancy, how they could grow and have this quality of vibrant, loving connection that none of us are taught. And as one of the people in the field says, the cause of your divorce, I love this line, by the way, the cause of your divorce is family, friends, and therapists. I added healers to the list. Why would I add healers to the list? Because they still focus on the individual and not the union and not the we. So what happened was I had a series of not just, I guess you could say, I call it soul seeing. I started to see things in a very different light over a year and a half, and how I met Dr. Teshna was I heard about her, and I thought, wow, because all the people around me, the therapists would say, well, it takes years to recover from grief, if even then. So when I heard what Teshna was doing, I knew that was going to be a significant collaboration. I also met a world-famous mediator, a lawyer in Boston. And what he said to me was that most people that divorce, when they seek out help, it usually adds weight to their situation. So I took this in deep in my, I've been one of the pioneers in coaching. And the more that I spoke to people about the union, their marriage, and their deep relationships, the more that I felt that that this was going to become part of my life. And this is 6 years ago. I had a lot of women write to me because I had written something about this, and some of the women flew in to see me just to meet me. One of them, her marriage was on the rocks, and I told she could come, and we hiked the mountains every day. And I didn't charge her, but she sent me $350 and said, "I just love what you do. I'm gonna remarry my husband." So I started to also question marriage and deep relationship. Is it counterfeit? Is it real? Like, what is the thing? In the same way, McDonald's isn't food. How's that for a lawsuit I just gave myself? McDonald's isn't food. It's kind of this fake thing. Yes, we got Andrea.
Oh, we.
That's an interesting conundrum, isn't it?
I'm gonna, Glenn.
Yes.
I'm with Andrea right now, so I'm gonna put her on, and I'll just touch it with you.
All right. We have extra time, so okay. I also want to announce we get Andrea on. Let me know when you're there, Andrea.
I'm here.
You're here. Speak up a little bit, okay? I want to hear your wonderful voice a little stronger. Could you speak up a touch?
I am speaking up. Let me just.
I like that.
Oh, okay. The mic is only on half up. There we go. Does that help?
All right. Yeah, that really helps. I explain to people that asking is a very deep blessing in our lives in relationship. You need to ask. So thank you for. So as I have you on, you know Teshna's book better than anybody. I've never met anybody who studied and worshipped the book. 95% of people read a book and it's like a passing idea for a few days. I love where you're coming from because you dedicated yourself to something, and I could tell in the conversation it wasn't just a book to you. It was really an instrument to release the belief that you were in bondage, that you really want to have a fresh place in your heart for a relationship and love in your life. And I want to announce right now, I'm opening up my Vibrant Matchmaking practice a day a week at Teshna's office so that we could collaborate on our mutual seminar, Divorce to Patterns, Not Each Other. And Angie, I just want to say one more thing. I want you to share what happened with the book And I'm going to have a description on Teshna's website about my one-of-a-kind matchmaking. It's very different than what's out there. So let's see. Yeah, let's have you take a minute. Welcome to Vibrant Living.
Well, thank you so much for having me on, and this opportunity to talk about a book that really impacted me.
Say hi to Teshna. She's right here. Say hi to Teshna.
Hi, Teshna.
Hi, I'm so glad that the book helped you. That's wonderful. That's the idea. That's why I wrote it.
Yeah, well, thank you. As a fellow Scorpio, I really appreciate getting to the point, which is something I enjoyed about the book, because you cut to the chase, and I think that's really great. That's my style, so it spoke to me in that sense. And I've been somebody working on myself as an author as well. I believe we're here to evolve and become more aware, and so when I find tools like this, Fit for Love, I'm so grateful that you took the time to write this based on your own personal experience, that this worked for you. And I believe it would be helpful for every human being to have this book, because you break down, the back section that says, I'm okay with letting go of the belief that love means ... I got to go through there and pick 3 or 4 things. And I quickly filled a page of maybe 35 and went, oh, she has 336 beliefs, and I'm only on page 2 of the 333. Like, I had many more to go. So I have been digging into my own subconscious for so many years that I felt it was really valuable to. I kept repeating the huge yawns. I was yawning. When your when your system reboots itself.
Yes.
And I would keep repeating them until the yawns went away. And as soon as the yawns subsided, I went to the section that said, I'm okay allowing myself to believe that love means. And I had a whole lot of fun, which I still do, because when I'm in my car, I'm sitting at lights, I'm driving along the Pacific Coast Highway, I'm inserting beliefs. When my heart's full of gratitude, I'm okay allowing myself to believe that love means.
Teshna, Andrea. I want to just let Teshna explain that, because it's such a profound thing you're touching upon. I've had a lot of experiences. Teshna, just give people the simple concept of as an example, what they're used to becomes love for them. So, for instance, if you get hit as a child, then your experience of love is like getting hit, right? Is that what Andrea is talking about? Is these beliefs that we start to believe?
Yes, exactly. So basically, what I explain in the book is that from conception until about 10 years old is when we get programmed for what our software is going to be for our blueprint, our pattern, basically, whether it's about love or money or health or a career, or it could be anything. But in the book, I focus mostly on love, because that's such a big issue for most people, that there's always something going on in relationships, whether it's their mate or their mother or their children or their neighbors or whatever it is. And so basically what Andrea is saying is that she as she was reading this, she saw, oh my God, yeah, I can see that. I'm believing this because it resonates. And then you clear that belief, and the way I do it is I do it with NET in my practice for patients, and then in my workshops, which I'm going to have one on November 17, 18.
Nate and his girlfriend are going to be there. I just want to announce that. Nate is going to be there. Nate Hughes and his lioness are going to be there, and so am I, the new vibrant matchmaker at Dr. Teshna's office. I want to insert that.
Yeah, we're going to be teaching that workshop November 17, 18, and it's in Hillsdale, New York. And if you go on my website, drteshna.com, there's a place there to register. And so anyway, in that, when you discover what a belief is, I have a technique that I teach people that's a form of tapping that's different than EFT. And we also use muscle testing so that the people can figure out whether the belief is there or not. And then the key is, once you find a belief you want to get rid of, we do the technique, like Andrea's figured out the technique that works for her to clear whatever it is. And then you have to put in the opposite belief. You want to make sure that you also allow yourself to believe the opposite of whatever it was. So, for example, if love and life meant to you that being abused, then you have to clear that, and what you're using, whatever technique you're using, then you have to make sure that you're congruent with, I can allow myself to believe that love and life means being respected. So you want to put the opposite one in. So, Andrea, I want to go back to you so you can keep telling your experience.
I just want to pause and just say you're listening to the Vibrant Living Network. I want to say you're with our panel today of Vibrant Collaborators, Pam Badger, Nate Hughes, Lisa. I guess we lost Lisa. We got you, Andrea. You know, I want to say one thing about this topic, Andrea, and I want to say one thing about beliefs and seeing past your beliefs, because I work with people who, I want to get your take, Nate and Sherry. Right. So, as an example, there's a new book out. It's called The Dark Horse, and the Dark Horse are the group of people who focus on fulfillment. So it seems like when we come out of a certain model, we kind of do things different. So one of the quests in my life is mastery, like relational mastery. So I'm really interested in how people get beyond beliefs. And I'm also interested in people come into a different language about who they are. How did discovering these beliefs, and then I want to go around the panel and ask people about, because each person here has a unique listening to the beat of a different drum. How did it impact you? So you discovered the beliefs and you became more congruent. How did it begin to shift? How did it begin to change your outer life? How did it change your life around you?
You're speaking to me now?
Andrea, yes. Yeah.
Well, it's something I feel in my body. I see in my relationships. I've been doing work on myself for so long, so when I come into a P2 like I have with her work, then I have a barrage of unfit relationships that show up in my face, because I really dig in deep. So then it presents itself within days, weeks, hours. And the relationships that were incongruent were really in front of me, where I had to then address them. I had to, use my voice more. In some situations, I had to end some relationships, and some new ones came in that were aligned with my new belief. That's how I saw it impacted me. And within my body, I felt a lightness. I could feel energetically it shift as I was saying these things in moments. Like when I drive, I get into a meditative state. And by saying things and clearing and then bringing in the new belief when I felt cleared, it would, present itself. It would be a lightness first. I would just be like, wow. It really felt like shaking one of those globes, and then all the little snowflakes go to the bottom and they're rested. That's how it felt in my body. And then that's how it manifested outside within relationships.
All right, I want to go to Pam, then Sherry, then Nate. So Pam, you're married a while, and you're with the dogs. I wanted to know if you, as you listen to this, I'm just curious. It seems to me, being with the dogs and having our show that a lot of people accept, our Vibrant Dog Show and Vibrant Living Vermont. What have you? Is anything like Andrea used this process that's in Dr. Teshna's book? Have you found anything helpful, both in the human world and dog world? Do you feel like you have something that you rely on that allows you to have more connection with people and deal with different sorts of dogs and people? I'm just kind of curious if you've come to something that you rely on or that you go to. Is that a tough question? You there, Pam?
I don't think Pam's there.
All right, let's go to Sherry. Are you relating to what Andrea is saying? Like, do you relate to it? Do you feel it? How do you experience it about beliefs in your life? Obviously, you have different beliefs. You're someone who's, my guess is not everybody in your family probably told you were going to be an energy worker. I would think not. So if you're listening to Andrea and we're talking about Teshna's book, what's your take on what she's saying? So you're hearing this new. What's your take? Do you relate to it? Is it very different for you?
No, I mean, it's as I'm getting older, I see how important it is to listen to my intuition, because of course, when I was younger, I I would hear that voice inside and just be like, yeah, right, okay, that's not gonna happen, or just have that disbelief, So now it's really listening and being aware, and if there's something that is not bettering my life, then even if it's ending a relationship, it's okay. It's feeling, it's just listening to the intuition and that feeling inside my body that allows me to know that it's right, even if I'm questioning it. It's just I believe in myself enough to know whether it's right or wrong.
Okay, all right.
That's awesome. I feel like that's a skill. Well, first of all, I think we're built. We're all born with intuition, but reflecting what she just said there, and flexing the muscle
Jerry.
To the point, Jerry, to the point where it becomes. In fact, I wrote my book about. I went the opposite direction of pushing away my intuition because how I was growing up, returning to it, how she just makes it so certain. Well, I just check in with my intuition. And so I've had to, my intuition, I've canceled out so quickly through abuse and dysfunction in my childhood that, how relaxed Sherry is about, well, I just check in and see, that it's like, wow, you're lucky that it's just so, easy breezy, but that's why this book is helpful.
Yes, and it hasn't been that way for a long time, and I got introduced to transcendental meditation, and that has opened up an amazing world of just reassurance and calmness. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful.
All right, I want to introduce something. We'll talk about Dr. Teshna. She's with us. I'm going to be a day a week. I'll be at Dr. Teshna's office. We'll be collaborating. I refer people to Dr. Teshna because her work helps people get beliefs out of their bodies. That our beliefs sometimes are diseases. Our beliefs are diseases unless we're in touch with those. I want to introduce something that I think is going to stretch you guys, but I want to know. And Nate, I want you to. If you haven't went to a buffet or something, you're still there, which is great. I love that you're there. So 8 years ago, when I went to my relational tsunami, I had a different belief system come in, and it wasn't a belief system. It was kind of an awareness. And the awareness was, because I was interesting, both Sherry and Andrea were talking about ending relationships. So the thing that I saw in my relational tsunami, and I started to develop something. I began to call it soul seeing. And what was sort of interesting, when I could see things between 2 and 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, it would happen in my life. So, for instance, if I saw something at 3, 4 in the morning, people would call me during the day, or I would meet people, and they would ask me questions that were already happening to me. Like, as an example, this woman called me to buy an old Mercedes I had, and she started to ask me about a relationship. So everyone in my world would ask me about relationships. Nate. I was tuning in. You were going to say something. So here's the thing I want to introduce. You here? Okay, you're there. Okay, I want to introduce this concept as we talk about intuition, and I want Teshna, I want you to respond because I'm in a living collaboration with you. I'm in a collaboration with all of you. So what I saw differently that when I grew up and when I was exposed, because I did a lot of stuff too. I did a lot of transformation programs, but what was missing in all the transformation programs, and pretty much still is, and it's also missing from most meditation. I did TM as well. What's missing is relational intuition, which I teach. So what's the difference between relational intuition and solo intuition? I'm going to go to you, Nate. What's the difference between, if I say relational intuition, it's a whole different world between individual intuition. What if I say that, what would you think is different about it, Nate? Any take?
I mean, that's such a profound statement, and yes, there's absolutely something different about it. But I think there has to be a distinction that those two people have had to have done work on their own tune into their intuition. And because they did so, they found each other on that intuitive line together. And when you tune into that, it kind of is an exponential form of intuition in a certain way where you both might feel daunted by something, but as soon as you turn into each other, the light opens and everything's clear because you have that support and the intuition merges, which is just so much more powerful. It's almost like expanding a pinprick into a quarter opening in something. And that kind of growth is just exponential because two types of intuition is just, I think it's hard for our minds to even comprehend when two energies come together like that. I don't know if we were meant to.
So what's interesting, I love that. Thank you. So when I listen to Andrea and Sherry and Dr. Teshna, Lisa, so a popular belief, by the way. So this is a belief. When I developed Divorce to Patterns on Each Other, I had someone call me up. By the way, this woman was very close with. She was taking a training. She was a world-renowned teacher in this leadership course, and she told me she quit teaching the course because of self-responsibility and creative expression. Self-responsibility and creative expression, she said, was really hurting people. So the question, why would that be? Why would self-responsibility and creative expression hurt people? Well, she said that to me. Of course, I was thinking that before she said it to me. Because when we're relationally be accountable to each other and we see something from a union, there's really no ending. There's a beginning. And so what's kind of interesting in our belief system, even among you guys, and I love you guys, what I see is that with even the context of how we see intuition. So when I work with people as a matchmaker, I'm really helping them not from beyond my words, from my nervous system, from my sense of deepening a union, deepening a we. So that imagine that before I made a decision, I tuned into it with you, even without even asking you. Imagine if we had a union of intuition, because so that's a distinction to me is that it's relational intuition, and we start from a sense of we. Because the thing that we've integrated into our lives, by the way, we've integrated divorce and breaks up as a way of life. My commitment is to educate people, not for saying it. By the way, I've done many, many sessions now, a lot of them with women. And before I say anything, sometimes I'll say, Glenn, before I spoke to you, I didn't realize how much I love my husband. Or I sit with someone who's single and says, I didn't realize how many obstacles I had. Because part of the self-empowerment paradigm is a lot about this individual, right? This me self. And what happens when we see things from this relational intuition, and how does that change things? So, Andrea, I'm going to go back to you, and then I want you to comment, Teshna.
Okay, I really want to comment on something that you said. And first, I really truly believe that the progression begins with us doing our inner work.
Yes. Yes.
To even be relational, where we're being relational, we are being relational first off from the dysfunctional place. It's already happened. We've created, divorce is so popular because we're all wrestling with the same shit. And then I think when you own it and you're like, wow, this is in me. And you start to, untangle all the knots and clear the way to like, okay, that was my dad's, that was my mom's, that was my aunt's, that was my uncle's, that was my grandmother's, that was my grandfather's. Okay, whoa, what is me? There's so much intuition that came back into my life when I just took all the baggage that wasn't mine, cleared it out, and had this, I do relate relationship. I could stand in front of someone and they don't even need to speak. I can feel what's in their heart. I know how they're sensing things, it's right there. And we all have that. That's not my only superpower. And so speaking from that place to get to the we, I think we did have to start with me, just because that's where we did start. And then arrive at a place where we are connecting, where telepathically we're communicating in a way that we get each other, and that there's a lineup, and there's a support system from a more balanced foundational place where there's an ownership, a personal responsibility for our own experience versus the entanglement from which we came.
Okay, all right. Teshna, why don't you jump in, and I'll share something about. I see that very differently, but I love that you shared that, Andrea. So Teshna, you wrote Fit for Love, and me and you are collaborating now on this. Divorce to Patterns on Each Other. What do you have to share about what I just said, and what's your take on relational intuition, how that changes everything or if you feel it does?
Well, as far as the the change, divorce your patterns, not your partner. I mean, that is exactly what I work with, in the terms of instead of just leaving someone because it's not working out, and then going and being attracted to a very same kind of person that's not going to work out the exact same way, before you go, and if you are going to leave someone, then at least clear the pattern. But even better, clear the patterns first and see if you still really want to leave that person. Because usually people that are, when you're attracted to someone, there's a good reason for it. There's lots of things that are working. But then there's a few things that are not, and those are the ones that are breaking the whole relationship. If the people are willing and open to observe, okay, what is it that's breaking it? Like, what is it? And then work on that thing. Start with the worst one. And then it changes the whole relationships. And all of a sudden, there's actually a potential for staying together instead of splitting up. And then reproducing the same problem somewhere else.
Yeah.
So that is for sure. So when people come in, I always ask them, are you open to working with this first with, the intent of staying together? And if they say yes, then we work with it. We just clear all the things that are bugging them the most. And lo and behold, all of a sudden, they're not so bugged by that person anymore, and they're able to entertain the thought of possibly staying together. And that's the goal.
I handle this pretty quickly. When I go to a restaurant, I ask how many people are bugged by being in the restaurant. So I get that up front really quick. I don't like to hang around and wait for resentment to build. Just kidding. You're listening to Vibrant Living Network. I want to go to Nate. I want to say something. Andrew, you just said something that I think was in Teshna. Something I want to say that I think is going to surprise a lot of the audience. I want to say something I think will be surprising. So, let's explore our assumptions and our presuppositions for a moment. Our assumptions and our presuppositions, just for fun. We're doing a special edition today of the Vibrant Living Network. It's wonderful having you with us. VibrantLivingNetwork.com, VibrantLivingNetwork.com. Dr. Teshna is with us today. We'll give her our website and also
Feed your soul with waves of consciousness on OMTimes Radio.
Ascending Hearts is no ordinary dating site, but a spiritual dating site with a purpose, to link you with your soulmate. We engineer the serendipity so you can trust that you will attune with someone that has the same matching vibration as you. Ascending Hearts, the conscious dating site for the spiritually aware. Try Ascending Hearts for free. AscendingHearts.com.
More than 24 million Americans have an autoimmune disorder, and that number continues to grow. I'm Sharon Saylor, and I'm one of those 24 million. To put that number in perspective, cancer affects about 9 million and heart disease up to 22 million. That's why I've brought together top experts and those thriving regardless of their diagnosis to bring you the latest, most up-to-date information. Join me, Sharon Saylor, Friday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, for the Autoimmune Hour on Life Interrupted Radio to find out how to live your life uninterrupted.
Hi, this is New Age Grammy winner Paul Avgerinos. Thanks for listening to OMTimes Radio, and please support my peaceful healing music with a purchase at iTunes, Amazon, or wherever you shop for fine music. Just put my name into the search engine, Paul Avgerinos. A, V like Victor, G like George, E-R-I-N-O-S. You can also visit me at roundskymusic.com. Thanks for listening, and I'm wishing you the brightest of blessings.
Melissa from Michigan. I work an extra part-time job serving lunch at my child's school, but I still can't afford to put food on our table.
Daniel from California. Choosing whether to pay the rent or pay to fix the car to get to work doesn't leave us with much at all. Now we can't even pay for meals.
Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Hello, you're listening to the Vibrant Living Network, along with Nate Hughes, Dr. Teshna. Dr. Teshna, go ahead and give out your website, and there's going to be a write-up on the on this very different sort of matchmaking that I do, which is related to divorce patterns on each other, and also cultivating this depth of relationship. How can people get to your website, Dr. Teshna?
Yeah, so it's basically drteshna.com. So DR and then TESHNA.com, drteshna.com. And there's information about the workshop coming up in November, and there's going to be some information about what Glenn has to offer. And also you can get my book from there as well, which is called Fit for Love.
Now, Andrea, Sherry. All right, here's an interesting premise. All right, so presuppositions. So presupposition is an example. When you're working with anybody, if their presupposition is an example, their assumption is that marriages end, that's going to impact your marriage. If they're neutral about it, it's going to affect your marriage. So the people actually that see marriage as a biological and spiritual phenomenon that matters, they're going to get very different results. So when I reached into the relational world, I was lucky enough to have on my side, very close, Dr. Norm Shealy. So I'd be biking, and I would think to myself, how does Norm see this from the neurological, energetic, spiritual? He's the most spiritual, energetic. He's probably the greatest, I would say the greatest person in the world around pain. Actually, how to heal the kind of pain that drives you nuts. So I called up Norm one day when I was biking, because I was talking to people around the world, and I was doing these matchmaking sessions. And I thought to myself, what's an obstacle? And I said, knowing each other. I said, how's that? Knowing each other is an obstacle. So I called up Norm, and I said, Norm, what's this thing? I said, knowing gets in the way, doesn't it? He said, yes. He said, knowing does get in the way. And I said, Norm, it's this thing about recognition. What happens when two people meet, and the relationship becomes about recognizing and seeing? Now, this dysfunctional model, by the way, the dysfunctional model or the model of woundedness, obviously it's all around us, from 12 steps, personal transformation programs. I would say that's an obstacle to relationship. So what I would say is an obstacle to relationship is self-emergent journeys, programs that are just focused on your enlightenment or your me, individualistic therapy, and also I cover self-emergent journeys and personal work. Now, why is that? Why those things are hazardous to your relationship? Why would those things be hazardous to your relationship? They're supposed to be good things. So as I one of the most impactful people in my life was a guy named Sid Banks, and so Sid said to me, people have the habit of believing they need to work on themselves, right? They're in the habit of this. So I meet this couple. I've known this couple for years. They wrote a book called Stop Working on Yourself. So in the relational world, I'm going to give you a different premise. The relational world is when you come together with someone else, that amplifies all the growth and wonder you have together as a unit. So if you just imagine for a second, and by the way, when I'm working with a couple or working with someone,
I would love for you to finish that thought.
I'm going to finish it.
Yeah, but bring it home now because you're going a lot of different directions, and you're going to lose us here. Just
I won't lose you.
What is your point?
Mm-hmm. My point is, and I'll say it again, that self-emergent journeys, working on ourselves.
Yeah, you're saying it's
what's that?
It's a deterrent in relationships, and why? You were leading, then Sid said, and
okay. It's a deterrent because working on ourselves, and this is why individual therapy break up a lot of relationships.
Okay, they come.
The relational union is a whole different animal, and inherent in a relational union is the love and the connection you probably never had in your life. So when people work, especially too much on themselves, and by the way, this is another problem and challenge with most meditations, the brain is impacted by, and we're going to do a show on this next week on relational meditation. So when you actually sit with someone else and find breath regulation and discover brain plasticity together, it changes everything in your relationship. So what I say to people, and by the way, I always say to people this, please don't believe what I say. Experience. If this moves you, experience it. So when I say relational meditation, and you guys, there's a course I teach, it's called The Thunder of Silence for Couples. And it's on gazing, relational meditation. But the idea is that when you come together, I just want you guys to play with this, you already have inherent health. It doesn't matter what happens. I have many people, I have psychiatrists around me. I have people around me, I'm in discussion. It's not, I just came up with this one day. I tapped into the relational world. And it's not as if I think there's some great people doing self work, it misses the relational union. It misses, there's something about you, when you evolve as a we, and when you recognize someone, what I could do, Andrea, is I could see someone as a script. Most people do. A script is you could say is the non-healthy or the non-functional part. But if I focus on recognition and seeing that person, they're going to breathe differently around me. So when two people come together, yeah, they have separate realities. But working on oneself is very different than allowing the wonder from a quiet mind together and giving each other the benefit of the doubt. That's how you actually, so chemistry doesn't work. What works is your nervous system, the wonder of how you breathe and move together. So at one of our classes, it's all about we meet in movement. We meet in something called natural chi movement. And you see, when we meet from that place, that's much deeper. So what I say makes sense to you? So the self-help world, the world of meditation on our own and working on our challenges and divorcing this one and breaking up with that one and saying we're better now is the life of the me. It's fine. But if you sense as I'm talking, there's the life of a we, and you want to go beyond dating. You can't stand dating. I know there's a lot of you out there. And you want to go to relating. It's like entering a whole different universe. Was that more succinct, Andrea, for you?
I just wanted. I just wanted to hear your point because you were going all these other directions with supporting your point before you even got to the point that I would have forgot where you were going because it was getting so drawn out. But I wanted to hear your opinion, and yes, I heard it. And I believe that having done, let's basically, how do you arrive to that place? Well, then you've done the work first. That you needed a Teshna book, that you needed Light Me Up. That's my book. You needed books that inspired for you to see it's not your partner, it's something inside of you. Oh my gosh, let me take a look at that. How can I adjust that in my relationship and move forward? I believe that self-help as a human being, and I believe it's essential to even be at the place that you're talking about. And so what I hear you saying is, if someone say that's doing the work and then goes into a relationship, then they're too busy doing the work and the relationship won't work. That's what you're saying.
What I'm saying is that
I would love to hear what Teshna thinks about what you're saying as well.
Sure, let's have Teshna. Teshna, please.
Yeah, let me just say what I have to say about that. I mean, for me, I think that one person has to work on themselves, as well as if they're in a relationship, if the two partners are willing to work together, that's ideal. Like I'll have people in my office, and I have a couple. I have rooms where I have two tables, so I put one of the partners on one table, the one on the other, and then I start muscle testing both of them for the same pattern. For example, if they say, well, he drives me nuts because he's always, criticizing me. So then I'll test her for, I can let go of the belief that love and life means being criticized. And then, sure enough, she's got that belief. So we clear that in her. And then I test him for, I can let go of the belief that love and life means criticizing. And then, sure enough, he's got that. So then we clear that. And then, again, I test her for, after I clear that, we test the opposite one. Like, I can allow myself to believe that love and life means accepting the people I love as they are. And then vice versa for the other one. And it makes a big difference. So I personally think that you do need to work on yourself, but also you need to work as a couple if you're willing to improve. So you need both.
I 100% agree with her, and our views are very different than what you just presented with your view. And all of these views can simultaneously exist, not making anyone right or wrong, but I resonate with what Teshna is saying, as I feel that's a part of the human experience. If you do choose to become aware, I believe that's a part of the evolution. This carries forth. It continues on. We get more and more clear and aligned in a place that who knows what opens up. But I think that's an essential piece, and that's why I love and value her book.
And I think that what Glenn is trying to say is that what's happened sometimes is that people get lost in just working on themselves, and they don't think about how to work on as a couple or work as a relationship. And I think that's what he's saying. It's like if it just goes on and there's never anything that goes towards working as a couple or working in a relationship, then that can be a trap too, because then the person will be single for 20 years because they keep working on themselves and they'll never, have the openness to be with someone else. Do you see what I mean?
That's stated differently from what I heard him say, but
exactly. That's how I interpret what he was saying.
Okay, was that congruent with what you said?
And then I want to go to Nate.
Glenn,
by the way, okay,
Glenn,
yes.
Was that?
No. Here's the thing. I just want to point something to Andrea. I'm not interested in being right about what I'm saying. I don't even have a strong point of view.
But I just wanted to say, did she?
Mm-hmm. I want to say that Teshna. Of course. Teshna's. I collaborate with Teshna. She's a partner in this with me. Of course, what she said. Of course, there's something what she said that had a gem of wisdom in it. I would say it maybe a little distinctly that the thought virus is of how most people relate to meditation, self-help, and transformation relationally. And I want to say this is all new stuff. The relational world in our cultural conversation almost doesn't exist. So your conversation, the conversation that you have about transformation, and you got to work on yourself. When I say, no, you don't got to work on yourself, that's a radical departure from a lot of beliefs out there. I'm not, my thing is, Andrea, is the people around me, the brilliant women I have around me. Like as an example, the women around me, we're incredibly concerned about the me conversation. See, the we brain is a whole different brain. It's a whole different brain. So we got to look at stuff. The Dalai Lama says it better than me. He says we got to look at the science. So, for instance, Sue Johnson, and I think you would enjoy this. When Sue Johnson,
I'm all about the we, and I feel like it starts with clearing the stuff in the me that came from before, which were beliefs inherited, and then when you clear it, then you care. I genuinely care about every person that I'm meeting because of what I have cleared. So it automatically becomes a we as a result of starting with the work.
And I'm suggesting, and I'm not asking you to agree with me. This takes, I've worked with people over weeks and months, and work isn't even the right word. There's something that changes in a person's respiratory system, but the idea that you see the we, this whole idea of working on yourself, for a lot of people, is a major interruption. It's probably one of the biggest causes of divorce and separations. The focus on me and not we. We could start from we, and I have, by the way, I have a lot of experiences with this. So it's just that the basic premise of calling someone else dysfunctional, or, and my joke is that most, partners seem to know better than a psychopharmacologist that their partner needs a certain medication. We've become a society, a culture of scripters. We project our script on someone else. We don't see that when you break something, it's fairly violent. So I haven't met a person yet who's sat in a room with me, and it's a few thousand people now. When they really let down, they've seen it a whole different way. So it's not something I could just say in a casual conversation. It's something that I ask people to explore and to divorce the patterns on each other is an example.
Take it off speaker.
Okay, someone's on speaker. Let me see. Uncle Nate, you on speaker? All right, I'm checking back in. Are we okay now, Chris? Okay, great. So when I went through the situation, Andrea and Teshna, I developed a whole different way of seeing this. But as an example, we have a formula called Air Bliss that changes the brain within 30 seconds. So one of the greatest myths in relationship when people begin to pull away from each other, it's called the myth of the made-up mind. And there's another myth we go into called the myth of moving on. See, when I met Teshna, I knew that what Teshna does adds a dimension to this that's powerful and unique and distinct. So it's just that I wanted to give people a system that was one of a kind and bring together all the people that transformed my life, including Donna Alexander, including Dr. Valerie Hunt, who I think is one of the geniuses in the world. She's passed away around true energy medicine. So I wanted to look at these things beyond the common beliefs about working on ourselves and about what I would call the thought viruses of that, and really have a resource for people that if they really saw it a different way and not went with the usual assumption and presupposition, they can have a relationship and come from that depth of relationship from the beginning. So they could actually go beyond dating. So dating is another domesticated form that gets in the way of relationship. So I'm not asking anybody to believe me, but I could say through the years now, it's been about 7 years to work, practicing with people, that this sort of alters the way you see and you relate to people. And so if you're interested in going beyond a world of breakup and divorces, and you really are curious about this relational harmony that exists right now, that it's beyond this idea that you got to work on yourself. The notion of working on yourself is just something to be questioned. Nate, what's your take? I want to get your voice. We still have Nate in the equation here. Teshna, you see what I'm saying? That I think Teshna's work, Andrea, is incredibly valuable. And I think this idea that couples could use air bliss together, but it takes one person to transform a relationship. Just one person, not two, but one.
Yeah, and sometimes I'll work with just one of the person in the couple, and it changes the whole relationship also. I think it's really important to look at it in a lot of different directions. So, and one of them is if one person changes their attitude and their belief system, it will change the whole relationship as well.
Exactly.
Yes. Thank you so much, Teshna, for your insights and for making the time for us today. We actually have to go to an appointment, and I know Andrea would like to say, but I wanted to say thank you again for your beautiful book, and it was one of the best gifts I could have given a friend.
Well, I'm thrilled. That makes me really happy.
Well, I just want to concur. Thank you so much for writing something from your heart. When something comes from that place and not from the intellect, but you gave words for the intellect, I just feel like it's just a stronger punch. And I respect and appreciate what you've done. So thank you.
Well, you're welcome, and thank you for coming on the call. I mean, that was a complete surprise when Glenn told me that you were going to be on the call, talk about the impact that my book had on you. I was like, wow, this is great. So thank you for taking your time to do that with everyone.
Lisa LaRose gets the credit for making that suggestion, and then Glenn for being kind enough to have me on as a guest. So thank you, Glenn, very much for.
Thank you, Andrea. Thank you.
Thanks, Lisa.
And she said thanks, Lisa, again.
Yeah. Thank you. And Dr. Teshna, will you please give out your website for people that so they can get in contact with you?
Yes, it's drteshna.com. So DR and then TESHNA.com. And there's information about the workshop and my book on there in my office.
Wonderful. Excited to keep exploring your work and what you and Glenn are going to be doing together with your vibrant matchmaking. It'll lead a whole new dimension for sure. So
yes,
Lisa, ask Andrea today how much she likes me from 1 to 10 when you see her over the weekend and everything.
Okay.
I want to make sure I want to see if she still loves me beyond the conversation. I'm just curious.
Absolutely.
Love you, Andrea.
Okay, I will tell her.
Love you, Lisa.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Okay,
bye.
Bye.
I was wondering if the conversation was stirring up Andrea. What was your take on Teshna? Our conversation, was Andrea okay with me, or she was getting ruffled? What do you think?
Well, I mean, she just has her opinion, and you have your opinion. So
right. Yeah,
it's okay. I mean, I think basically we're all saying the same thing. We're just using certain different vocabulary or different meaning to the same word. So,
it's funny you say that. So, I have found with some people that the harmony I have is so deep, and that's usually the conversation that begins to happen. When I went to see you, I want to say I went to see you in tremendous shock, and you were so, you were so reassuring, and you were like a pipeline, obviously, to me, because I actually felt like I found the best therapist in my area. He's wonderful, but he told me he didn't know what to do with the grief. So he actually said to me, Glenn, I think this is going to last. He actually gave me a timeline. And he said, I think this grief is going to last because one of my deepest values is loyalty and depth of relationship. My life really is about deep connection. So I kind of feel this mission that has stretched and made some of the most wonderful connections in the relational world. As you said, kind of came from this other thing, and I didn't have a language for it. When I saw you and you told me that I had this, the phantom twin syndrome, even if I didn't get it intellectually, I thought, yeah, I've always had the sense that with people, even when I have a speakers bureau now, and I could tell when I worked with some speakers yesterday, Teshna, and I just love them, and I could feel they feel my connection to them. And there's such satisfaction. But I think when I saw you, you gave me, in some sense, I felt I had a new relational vision that occurred driving 6 hours to see you. You know, I drove 6 hours to see you. So I felt a connection and an awakened imagination with you. And it's not as if, when people come to do divorce, the patterns on each other, or the kind of the new breed of matchmaking, that it's just one view. It's really, how do we take things to awaken this so that you could actually move from a stable relationship to a relationship that has ecstasy in it? I call it the ecstasy bond. How do you actually get to a level that's beyond terminal normality? And you hit it really well. I think you heard what I was saying, that, yeah, I don't even like the word work. I think human beings, I think the last thing human beings need is to work on themselves. I think what they need to do is come awake and be in harmony. And this idea of working, we get it, from having to get a job. I don't know. I just feel sometimes people, when you overstrain in your system, you sometimes miss the beauty and wonder of your relationship. So actually, I encourage my clients, and they laugh about it, but I said, don't you go home and process this. I want you guys to go home and hold hands and walk. Find your breath. And they come back and they say to me, we've been to a lot of therapists. No one ever said that to us. And I said, yeah, I want you guys to find a quiet mind together. And when you first met each other and you gave each other the benefit of the doubt, I want you to dwell part of the day in the good feeling that's there. I don't want you to work hard on this. I want you to feel what's already there. And then I met someone I want to introduce you to, Bill Pettit, a psychiatrist. And he said it changed his life as a psychiatrist, understanding that you don't have to work on things. There's an inner health. And when people see that in each other, and they have someone like you help them release it from their body, you don't want to deny the body, they find this. So that's why when my clients say to me, when someone say, like a woman say to me, women regularly say to me, after speaking to you, I never knew how much I love my husband. Or, I don't know why I broke up. I was in a bad mood. There was a woman, Teshna, I've told the story before, but she wanted to speak to me so much about this. She wrote a book called Break Up, Don't Make Up. Make Up, Don't Break Up. She says hormones. See, here's the thing about lovemaking in sex. Let's make this a holistic conversation. When people experience deep ecstasy and they get let down together, it changes them hormonally. So one of the things, it changes them in a very positive way hormonally. And when you could surrender, we have the feminine part and the masculine part. When you can let down and receive each other and be in the wonder of that, that's a different part of the brain. Our new program on the brain plasticity lifestyle will actually get into is how do you change your brain together? So I know when I was growing up, no one ever gave me that information. I just knew I loved relationship, and I couldn't imagine moving into a separation. Now, when I started to meet people and I had this discussion, it changed both our breaths. And when I heard what you did, and by the way, when I saw your Capallo and you told your story, it's a very powerful story. You in your own life went through something I feel is so harsh and severe, because it is, and then you went in a different direction. A lot of people, when they get divorced, honest to God, if they were really honest, and I get to speak to people all the time around this, they don't really recover. They get more hardened, and they say they moved on. But listen to their voice, feel their breath. Are they really moved on? Have they really moved on? So the thing is how do you allow yourself to receive this love in your body, in your spirit, and make this a way of life? So you're not dating, you're relating, and you're deepening that relating as a way of life and a way of tuning in and wonder together. And by the way, I love watching people listen to you at Capallo. I thought you were just a wonderful presenter. Tell us, you're doing a presentation tonight, right?
Yes, actually. There's
tell us tonight. Maybe we have some listeners out in your area.
Today in Great Barrington at Elixir. It's a wonderful vegan restaurant, and I'm going to be giving. We're going to have dinner first, a wonderful vegan meal, and then at 6:00, and then followed by me discussing the workshop that I'm going to be teaching and answering questions and giving them a little snippet of my book and just getting to know people that might be interested in knowing more of what I do and what I have to offer.
I want to share with the audience. I want to share something that I think came up a little bit today, and I want to play with you on an idea that I know has come up around you. So I want you guys to listen to this idea and tell me what you think of it. I discovered it many times in my life now, particularly in this last 8 years. I had a writing assistant who would come see me, and she did the harshest things around me, right? And one day I'm driving with her, and she says, "You know why I say such harsh things around you?" And I'm like, "No." And she goes, "Because I feel totally safe around you." So there's an idea. I want you guys to play with this. The idea is that real love brings up everything unlike itself. That when you start to experience love, you feel unsettled. You feel kind of like, based on what you say, Teshna, if your experience of love is, in fact, people judging you, people holding back from you, not playing fully, people interrupting you. You know, how many times you've walked in a room and someone just stood up and clapped, either emotionally, energetically, because you walked in the room. I had that happen with me. I was at a training, and these people came around me, and they circled me. They circled all around me. And they'd say, when you walked in the room, the whole quality of oxygen changed for all of us. You know, that memory, that awareness, I breathe in sometimes. So my question is, what your experience, that most people, when they don't understand, when stuff comes up, it's an opportunity to deepen the love. How's that for new belief? The opportunity is to deepen the love and not run away.
Yeah, I mean, if people are aware and willing to work, you know, like that word, clear, you know, if they're willing to clear things and look at their stuff and change it, then it's really absolutely that. Because the way I explain it in my workshop is that everything that happens in our lives is a perfect mirror of our belief system. So everything. So, you know, if you feel like your mate is a loser, well, it's probably because you believe that love and life mean being with a loser, you know, and that's why they have to oblige. They have to be a loser so that they can be loved by you. You know, you just have to clear that and change it to, I can allow myself to believe that love and life means being with a winner. And all of a sudden, you're going to allow that other person to be the winner that they really are instead of the loser, because now they can be loved even if they're a winner. Do you see? And oftentimes that kind of win-lose thing goes right back to the vanishing twin, which is a whole other subject that I talk about in the workshop, which affects relationships greatly, and most people have never even heard of it. And I have a whole section of that in my book, too, so if anybody's
I'm so excited about the workshop.
Yes, that'd be great.
Plus, I get to meet Nate. I get to meet Nate and his lioness. We're going. We always schedule everything to be with you.
That's good.
Nate said, I'm not even looking at my calendar. I'm canceling everything on my calendar. That's how much he wants to be there.
I love it.
By the way, this has been an unusual format today because we couldn't get on, and Chris has been so gracious. So I want to share one more thing with you guys. I want you guys to, okay, now think about my relationship with Andrea. Those of you who listen to my relationship with Andrea, I want to play with that for a moment. And I want you to pretend that was my first date with Andrea. And I want you to think, how did that date go? Of course, I teach people to go beyond dating, right? So I met a woman, how long ago? It was about 3 years ago. And so we're in a group. We're about 60 of us. And the first night, you're supposed to share something, and she shares. And people shared some very intimate, beautiful stuff. But she shared that she lived in Hawaii, and she didn't want to talk about living in Hawaii, and that she had these food allergies. And so, being the coyote I am, I kind of joked to her. I kind of said, "Hey, what's your diet like now?" And she gave me the finger and walked away. Within a couple of moments, her friend whispered in her ear. She said, "It's her, it's her." So I want you guys to think about this. Socially, I got to see her many, many times, and we developed a pattern. Here's the pattern. You both ignore each other, right? You both ignore each other. So for the next 6 months, I saw her many times, but she would not recognize me. And so one day I'm at Whole Foods Market, and I'm sitting having a kale and avocado salad. This woman doesn't look at me for 6 months. I want you guys to think about this in true relationalness, not dating. Our first date didn't go well. I would say my first date didn't go well with Angie, but what do I know? So anyway, I'm at Whole Foods. The woman that won't speak to me gave me the finger. We did we did another exercise together. And the exercise was, you're supposed to go up. This is a group that gets really close. And I was very tight with a lot of people in the group. But you're supposed to go up and share something that you held back. And so what I said to her was, is it okay with you if I share something with you that I did that I want to clear up with you? And that was that I kind of tease you. I joke with you about your diet. And I said, this is what I said to her, I may have stepped on your toes. And what she said was, she said there was no may about it. That's her response to me. She's supposed to say thank you, and she said there's no may about it. So now I see her 6 months later at Whole Foods, and she walks over to me. Now, I don't reference the incident, and she says to me, what are you eating? And I said, I'm eating this it's kale and avocado. It's so good. And she goes, I would love that if I wasn't allergic to it. And she goes, do you mind if I sit with you? Do you know, we've been best friends. I've seen her so many times. We've never discussed it. This is why self-help doesn't work. We never discussed it, but you see, there was a spirit of harmony and goodwill that just occurred. And I want you guys to play with that. When you focus on the spirit of goodwill, it sends a different thing. And that's why I love Teshna's work, because Teshna gives you a restart on stuff you're not even aware of. A lot of stuff you can't explain, right? But when you clear it, it sends something different. And that's what so both divorce the patterns on each other and vibrant matchmaking is really discovering, not me telling you, but discovering this other way to be in relationship and be relational right from the beginning. It doesn't require dating. It doesn't require processing. It really sets you up to have this deeper love and this ecstasy bond. So finally your nervous system could calm down to receive the love you dream about and think about while you're reading self-transformation books. Teshna.
Yes.
Except your book. Except your book. That woman loves your book, by the way. She's doing a video for you.
Yeah.
She's doing a video for you, that woman. I've never met anybody who loved the book so much.
Yeah, well, I quite a few people telling me they love the book. I mean, most people that read it really love it. So.
Yeah.
Because I'm real, you know. I'm just, and like she said, I'm a Scorpio, so I go right to the point. Yeah. I'm not beating around the bush. I just go right to it, and this is what I found, and this is what you can do, and here's how you do it.
I came to you. I always tell you the truth, and you tell me the truth, whether I like it or not, whether you like it or not. So this woman, right before I speak to you, this woman goes, well, what's Teshna? And I said, I don't know. And she goes, Glenn, don't work with her. She's a Scorpio. Those women will eat your life. She said that to me. So I said, look, I don't know that much about astrology. Why such a strong warning? She goes, just listen to me. And then a few other women say about the Scorpio thing. Do you remember what you said to me about this? I said that to you. You said you were a Scorpio, then you said, and?
Yes.
You remember what you said to me? What did you say to me?
I don't remember.
You told me that you were a, what's the thing that raises? You're a Phoenix Scorpio.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's two types of Scorpios. There's the lizard Scorpios, and then there's the Phoenix type Scorpios.
Yeah.
So, you know, the lizard ones are the ones that like to sting and be nasty and that kind of thing. And then the Phoenix ones are more like the ones that are into transformation and healing.
Let me ask you a question. I know there's some people around me. I'm sure there's people around you. They would bet their whole life. They would bet their $5 million on astrology. In the scheme of things, you touch people every day. People come to you. I want to say the people around you are some of the most high-quality, loving people I've ever met. Rita is one of the most amazing people. You transform Rita's life. I love Rita to pieces. We have the best relationship. I talk to Rita. I feel like Rita's like a relative. I love her so much. I love Taylor. The people around you, the people that come to you. I want to say, if you want to meet some wonderful people, get around these people that come to around Teshna. They're some of the best people in the universe. I've never met more high-quality people. I just want to say, have you noticed that people around you are just off the planet? How do you get these people?
Well, I guess it's a frequency match.
It's good. Karen's a sweetheart. I mean, she's one of the most settled people. It's always a feeling of family when I call there. You know, I say, oh, it's Karen. Okay, I can relax. It's Karen. I was just wondering if you noticed that. They're just such good people. Actually, I think that if you guys, we got to post on your website the conversation I had with Rita. You didn't hear it, but what she has to say about her relationship with you and how you helped her dissolve a trauma that she had since she was 7. She has her first deep, loving relationship. I speak to Rita several times a week now. She's one of my clients. I love Rita to pieces. And she said that when she was 7, she had an awful trauma occur. And she said every relationship, even when she was married, she lived that trauma until she met you. I guess she met you at 39, right around there. Yeah. Does that feel good in your heart? I mean, what's it like for you when people give you that feedback? What's it like for you? Is that why you're flying, telling that you keep? I love that you keep expanding your wings and wanting to find out new stuff.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's why I do what I do, because I love helping people. I love to see that transformation and them taking off. That's why my practice is called Freedom Chiropractic. It's about freeing people up from everything. Freeing them up from pain, freedom from subluxations, nervous system interference, and freedom from their patterns and their self-sabotage, things that are going on.
Yeah. I met Rita's business partner. She's one of the most brilliant women I've ever met. I mean, Mariska is just incredible. So I just want to say that I deeply appreciate the people around you. What's your vision for our I was going to say work, but I'm not, because I realize I don't want to say work. What's your vision for how we're going to come together and really transform people's relational world and have them become deeper and more intimate and have relationships they never thought they could have before, and actually deepen if they never thought they could be married happily, if they never thought they could, basically resolve things with someone. What's your vision for our combined wonder together? What's your vision?
Well, I mean, to me, like the workshop that we're going to teach at Menla, I think is going to be very groundbreaking. I don't think there's anything out there, anything like that out there.
Yeah, I don't either.
Because this is about like explaining that whole concept that you've studied for so long, and then I come in and I teach people an actual tool that they can learn right then and there and start applying and using on themselves, so they can clear these things that have been in their way of being happy in their relationship. So it's going to be amazing. There's nothing else like it.
No, I'm going to share with people the natural chi movement, and it's going to be fun, by the way.
Yeah, I've always been a trailblazer and everything, but this is definitely blazing a new trail.
Oh, good. Well, thanks for loving me through the program today, by the way. That was it was a little rough for me at times. I had to kind of down myself.
Go soon because
we're going to be off. We're going to be finished in like 3 minutes.
Okay.
I thought you'd at least sing to. You're going to sing to the audience or something?
No.
No. I thought you said you were a rock star. You never sang. You indicated you were a great singer. I think you did. You said yes. You said you could sing. But you're not going to sing now.
But I'm not going to sing.
Are you going to sing at our retreat? Divorce the patterns on each other. We're going to get you to sing there?
I don't know.
Oh, come on. Say maybe. Maybe?
I'll have to bring my guitar along.
All right. Bring your guitar along, please. By the way, we got 2 minutes to go. I'm really interested. I had the most amazing conversation. When you get off the phone, look up Dr. Dharma Singh Khalsa. He wrote the most amazing book on brain longevity. He's going to be a new team member. I love this guy to pieces. I'm thinking about part of what we're going to do on our network is we're going to have a brain longevity club, and we're going to have a love longevity club. I want to get your tip. You look so young and so wonderful. Give us a growing young tip. Everybody wants to reverse the telomeres, the cell width. Dr. Shealy's done it. He's 85, but biologically he's in his 40s. Give us a using tip, a healing tip today.
Are you asking me that?
I'm asking you that, believe it or not, yes.
Well, I mean, for
there was
me,
no one else in the room. I'm asking you.
Okay. Yeah, what I like to do is I do the Tibetan Rite, which comes from the book The Fountain of Youth. I do that every day. And then the other thing is rebounding. I rebound every day.
Oh, you're a rebounder. How long do you rebound for?
At least 10, 15 minutes every day.
I'm going to bring my rebound to the office. You're inspiring me. I'm going to start to rebound.
I have one at the office. Bring it.
Oh, yeah, okay. All right, I'll do the rebounding. And now the Tibetan, what's the name of that book so people can get it? What's it called? The Tibetan what?
It's called The Fountain of Youth. And the key to that is you start slow. You start with there's 5 exercises they talk about. You just start with 1 of each per day for a week. And then every week you add another 1 of each. So the second week you do 2 of each. And the third week you do 3 of each. And you go like that until you get 21 of each. And by the time you do that, all your chakras are spinning the right speed and you're feeling much better. You're toned up. You're flexible. It's really amazing. It turns the clock back. I've done that with thousands of people in my practice.
Seriously?
I teach them how to do that. It really helps a lot.
Beautiful. Listen, I want to wholeheartedly thank you. You've been very flexible, and Chris has been great. We just got on the air a little late today. Teshna, I love you, and I'm interested in inspiring forward. And thanks for helping me getting through my session with Andrea today. That was a real blessing. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I'm learning, by the way. I haven't arrived. I've only just begun. We're in this together. It's a relational collaboration. Go on and give out your website again. We'll have the vibrant matchmaking stuff on there and the information about divorce patterns. Please give out your website one more time for all those people that have been moved today.
All right, so it's drteshna.com. So DrTeshna, drteshna.com.
Thank you, Dr. Teshna. Deeply appreciate and love you. I want to thank you guys listening. And just realize we've only begun. Don't be a pessimist. Relationships are all about a new opening and then stabilizing together. I wish you much love. And stay tuned for the Vibrant Living Network, vibrantliving.network.com, vibrantliving.network.com. And you can soon read about me on Dr. Teshna's website. I'll see you at the office there. And I wish you much wonder and appreciate you guys. Thank you. And thank you, Chris. You're always just great. And I thank you a lot for your trust and kindness. I deeply appreciate our partnership and the Vibrant Living Network on OMTimes Radio. Thank you, everybody. Your life's precious. Enjoy it. And thank you to Lisa and Nate. And, of course, Pam Badger.